Hey everybody, welcome to the Labyrinth of Limitations. This is another little Labyrinth episode and we're going to look at playing on a tune. We'll look at All the Things You Are, which was featured in the last Things I Learned from Barry Harris episode, and I thought it might be nice to kind of complement that with some of this type of movement we've been talking about here. So at the beginning, and I'll write this in the description for the video, but F minor 7 goes to B flat minor 7, and then E flat 7, and then A flat major 6, or A flat major, but I'm thinking A flat major 6. And on that note, the first chord, F minor 7, I'm thinking of A flat major 6. And then this, which is B flat minor 7, I'm thinking of as D flat major 6. Right? And then E flat 7, you could think of lots of stuff. E flat 7 could be. So that was just E dominant 7 to me. And I did a little chromatic. For that chromatic, instead of just doing a single note, I could harmonize it by going. Whoops. I'll do that again. There's not enough time for all that. So what I did there was I went to the tritones minor. So that was going from E flat dominant 7th to E minor 6, which is what Chris talks about in his video. And all of that can be done. That is E minor 6, which is the 6 on the 5 for A dominant 7, and A dominant 7 is the tritone for E flat 7. So it's like this, but then we do, and if for this, E dominant 7th, I could do B flat minor 6, which is the 6 on the 5 there, or I could go to the tritone, and I could grab its 6 on the 5, which is happens to be a half step up from our original, the chord that's actually happening, E flat dominant 7th. You get these beautiful motions when you go from E flat dominant 7th to the tritones minor, look what happens there, or from the 6 on the 5, right, beautiful sounds. So I like to mix those together, and I'll talk more about that in the next big episode. That's what I keep alluding to. I'm going to get around to it soon. So let's do some motion where we take some little lines and put some chromatic moves in there. So I'm going to go little chord on the beginning. So that was doing the chromatic scale, Barry's chromatic idea, which again, if I were playing A flat major, just a standard A flat major, well, what that's going to be is, that's how I do that. So it's a beautiful way of filling in time, and I have a whole episode on that you can review if you're confused about that. But I'm just going to go forward with it. So it was like, so I kind of skipped ahead. I went chromatic, and then so instead of putting more in there, because of just sensing time, I guess. So what if I kept going chromatically? So that was the arrival on D flat major 6, but I'm going to keep going chromatically. So I'll go. That's pretty. So one more time. Now I'm on the dominant, and I did the 6 on the 5. So I went down, so I just kept going up the chromatic through D flat major 6. Now here's a chromatic lead in. Now here I'm on D flat major 6, chromatic, and I did that because of the relationship of half steps and whole steps in the scale. So now I'm on 6 on the 5. Maybe I'll try to keep going with it. So maybe if I go, so I go and then maybe no. That's kind of cool. Or if it were here, and I went to the tritones minor. So I went. So can I connect that into what I did before? So. Whoops. Yeah, right there. So I could go, okay, let me try it all. Leaving in. Then I wouldn't do all that. I was just messing around. But you get the idea? One more time of that. That is chromatic. D flat major, 6. And then whoops. Maybe. So that was the resolution, and that is going to be D half diminished 7th to G7, which means it's F minor 6 to, in this case, I'm doing A flat minor 6, tritones minor on G. So that's F minor 6. So maybe borrow. So if you review the taking the elevator to borrow from the neighbors, I talk about how if you want to borrow one note, you can just borrow a note once you start to see the scales. So I can go, so I can go like, maybe not that, but so that was F minor 6. This is the tritones minor for G, borrowing one note. But if I want to borrow 3, I can look at it like that's borrowing 3 notes, 2 in one direction and 1 in the other, which is really pretty. And the way I look at that is I have a drop 2 and I go down in the elevator because the elevator goes down from drop 2 as the voices go inward to an octave chord. So that's so that's what it is, and then it goes to a broken chord and then onward from there. So if I were to do that and I were just go like this, but then instead of this note I keep my bass note from my destination, I get 3 notes from the lower floor of the elevator. I can do this everywhere, see? So this is the beginning. Something like that. So I did it again there. Or, see, I could do so, and then here, and then, so I'm borrowing. So I'm just doing that all over the place, 3 notes. Mostly on drop 2s. But then I did, and then I'm going to go to a drop 2 and 4 on my A flat minor 6. And I'm going to go, that's borrowing 3 on that one. And you can review that episode. Maybe, I think maybe that's a good place to stop. This voicing, I love drop 2s and 4s, and I don't do them enough. So just one thing real quick, instead of starting on on that chord, maybe same melody note, right? And then, so, whoops, so it's A flat major 6. Up there, but good place to stop. So I hope this has been fun to see and work with me on. This is just all the things you are, just looking at the first bit of it, and you can connect this to the things that Chris is showing you and kind of interplay between this episode and that episode, and maybe have some fun with that. So thank you for following me. Thanks for I'm glad everybody's kind of enjoying these little labyrinths. I felt a little self-conscious about doing it because there's no PDFs, but it does make it a lot easier for me to kind of do this a little more regularly, because the PDFs take a minute to do. So I will be visiting that again, though, the big labyrinth, shortly, as soon as I have a moment. So thanks so much, and keep practicing.